Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you doing today? I hope you are doing very, very well on this Monday. I hope your Monday was fantastic and it kicked off what will be an amazing week for you. I had a good Monday, so I'm here and I'm ready to do something that is way outside the normal Ink and Paper Blog box, because today I'm going to do a fantasy book haul video for you. I know, you heard it right. It's never happened before. But what happened was that, as you guys may have known if you've watched my last couple of videos, I've been in a bit of a reading slump. I'd get about 50 pages into a book and it just wouldn't work for me. And they were books that I knew that I would love. I just was in a space that it wasn't working. So I decided that I would do something really different, and I'd go into the fantasy section and I would just look at books that were different, that I'd heard about but I didn't read normally, and just try a bunch of different things. So I did pick up some stuff that I'm going to talk to you guys about. And then also at the end, I'm going to mention 3 fantasy novels that have been sent to me by publishers or that I got at Book Expo America that are coming out later in the year that I also am excited to maybe get to. And for you guys to get them on your TBR if you are fantasy readers yourself. So there you go. So let's get started on Ink and Paper Blog's first ever fantasy book haul. The first book I picked up was 12 Kings of Sharakhai, is how I'm going to say that, by Bradley P. Beaulieu, and I'm saying his last name absolutely wrong. This was recommended to me by my friend Chris over at Chris's Bookish Cauldron. He raved about this series. There are 3 books, and as you can see, these things are ginormous. But this is set in a world where the major city that we are in is in the middle of the desert, and there's all these cities around it, and this is sort of like the trade capital of this area. And there are 12 kings that rule this land, and they rule sort of with this iron fist, and there's all sorts of really interesting aspects to this world. For example, there's the Blade Maidens, who are these women who are like these personal guards to the kings that just kick absolute butt. I'm waiting for more information on them because I think that they'll be fascinating. But our main character in this book is Sita. One night, Sita goes out on a night where the kings have made it against the law to actually ever leave your home. There are these monsters that go around killing people. And she learns about a bunch of different stuff and a lot of secrets about the world that she is a part of, and that's sort of the story. Now, this is classic epic fantasy. There are a number of characters, there's a number of things going on, but it's really readable. The character of Sita is fantastic. She is kick butt. She is a strong, independent lady, and I'm totally digging it. I'm about 200 pages into the book itself, and I'm really loving it, and Chris was not wrong. It is a very, very fun read. So that's Bradley P. Beaulieu. I'm saying that wrong. You know how I am with names. The 12 Kings in Sharakhai is Sharakhai. Just what I need. Fantasy novels have a ton of names that I'm never going to be able to pronounce. So caveat, as always, apologizing in advance, because you probably, if you are a fantasy person, can say all these things and they just roll off your tongue. The second book I'm going to tell you about is a YA novel called The Astonishing Color of After by Emily X.R. Pan. Now, this is a novel about a young girl who is half Taiwanese, half white, and her mother has passed away, and she believes that her mother has been born again in the form of a bird. And she goes to Taiwan to meet her grandparents and to search for her mother, the bird. And as she's doing this, she learns about family secrets, ghosts from the past, all that kind of stuff. I've heard good things about this, and I know that it may have been around a little bit, but I just got my copy, and that cover is pretty fantastic. So that's The Astonishing Color of After by Emily X.R. Pan. Yeah, so there's a little bit fantasy there for you, a little YA fantasy. Actually, I think 2 of these are YA fantasy, technically. This is Seraphina by Rachel Hartman. Now, this was recommended to me in one of the Green Apple book videos that I did with them by Cassie. This is the story of Seraphina. She is half dragon, half human. She hides being dragon, half dragon, because there is this tension between the dragon and human communities until one day, I believe, a member of the royal family goes missing and she is brought into that investigation and things happen, as you can imagine. I've only heard good things. This is also part of a series. I know that there's a second book. It's a duology. And then there's also a third book that somehow fits into this world as well. So that is Seraphina by Rachel Hartman. Okay, and last but not least, I bought a sequel because you guys remember last year I read The Bear and the Nightingale by Katherine Arden, and I really enjoyed it. And this, The Girl in the Tower, is book 2, and I know for a fact that book 3 is already out, and that is called The Winter of the Witch. Is it already out or is it coming out? It's one or the other. It's soon. But this is the second one in that series, and I'm not going to tell you much about it because I don't want to spoil anything that happened in the first book. But the first book was about her and her family in a very remote part of Russia, very snowy, and an evil comes and she uses magic to save her community in her town, or attempt to save her community in her town. There was it's sort of the local, rural, religious tradition versus Christianity was very much played up in that book. And it was a super fun, exciting read. I met Katherine Arden at BA America. She has a YA novel coming out that I'll be telling you guys about soon. And I just adore her. And so I'm super excited to get into the second book, which is The Girl in the Tower. The first book is The Bear and the Nightingale. So if you haven't read it, go get it. Get into the second book. Okay. So that's 4 books that are out now, and now I'm going to tell you about 3 books that are coming out, one in October, one in January, one in February. So the book that is coming out in October is a YA fantasy called Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Ngan. This is out by Little Brown, and it comes out October 23rd. And this is set in a Middle Eastern type world where we have a young girl who is taken to become a consort in the palace, and what happens when she gets there. The back says, I just want to read this to you. The main character's name is Lee. She dreams of escape, but does the unthinkable. She falls in love. Her forbidden romance, enmeshed with the explosive plot that threatens the king's reign, will force Lee to decide just how far she's willing to go for her freedom. And I believe there's like shape-shifting animals and all sorts of sort of magic in this. This was one of the buzz picks for the YA panel at BA America, and I think it's going to be fairly exciting. So hopefully you guys get that on your radar, add it to your TBR if this is your kind of thing. This is another book from that same list. This one's actually coming out in January, and that's The Girl King by Mimi Liu. This is out by Bloomsbury, I believe. Let me make sure. Just Bloomsbury. Good. Good for me there. This is the story of 2 sisters who are the daughters to the king. One sister believes she is going to become the ruler and the first female ruler of the land, but she is skipped over for a cousin, I want to say. And her sister leave in order for one of them to come back because she wants to take over and become the ruler. And the other one is the quieter, more soft-spoken sister and sort of their adventures together once this happens to them. So again, strong female characters going up against the patriarchy and doing what they need to do to get stuff done. So that's The Girl King by Mimi Liu, and this is out in January 8th of 2019. And last but not least, this book comes out really far, February 2019. And the arc is so different, it doesn't even have the cover, but the cover has been released. And this is The Ruin of Kings by Jenn Lyons. This is by Tor, and this comes out in February of 2019. And I'm just going to read to you the blurb inside. So when I was in my slump, I picked this one up, and I was like, oh, I'll read sort of the first few pages, and I was hooked. But then I was like, wait a minute, I'm not going to read a book not coming out till February of next year when I'm going to want the new one so bad. But you guys are going to want this. If you're on a fantasy reader, I'm telling you. When Kieran is claimed against his will as the lost long scion of the prince, he finds that it isn't what the storybooks promised. The storybooks have lied about a lot of things, too. dragons, demons, gods, and how the hero always wins. Then again, maybe he's not the hero, for Kieran isn't destined to save the Empire. He's destined to destroy it. Now, it has quotes on it from Janny Wirtz, Glenn Cook. It's compared to books, if you like, Martin, Sanderson, Weeks, Brett, Ryan, Lawrence, or Abercrombie. They are calling this the big thing, the next big book. So I'm going to hold it this way since the cover isn't there and the art. So this is The Ruin of Kings by Jenn Lyons. Get it on your TBR, add it to your Goodreads, pre-order it. I hear that pre-ordering is really good for authors. So if you're interested in something, definitely think about pre-ordering it so that you get it early or before that comes out or the day it comes out. So I hope you guys enjoyed this very different book haul on the Ink and Paper blog channel with all of these fantasy novels. And I hope I've spawned some interest for you. If you've read any of them that you know, talk about them down below. And if you're excited about any of them, let's talk about it. So as always, if you're a return subscriber, thank you so much. If you're new to my channel, I hope you like what you saw and that you subscribe. And until next time, happy reading, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.